Hi there, it's Lori, and I'm here with Kittee Lane. Create and Relate, right? That's
Yes.
the actual title. And our our connections are a whole lot of commonalities.
Eerily similar.
We
Similar.
have so many similarities and similar odd things about our past and our lives, which is interesting. Some of our medical stuff is really similar. So it's all very interesting. I came across Kittee when she did a shout out video. So how I found Kittee was she had actually tagged me in a video, and I had only just shortly before that figured out where to find that people tagged me. I had no idea. So I was flying blind there in that regard, and just right before, and then the first, so I watched, it was a shout out video or Star of the Week, is that what it was called?
Mhm.
Yeah. Star of the
Video
Week.
star of the week.
Yeah, and so I had gone in and I was listening to her, and I'm like, oh, I like this lady. And then I caught her a couple times live, and then that's when we realized we had so many things in common, and it was really fascinating because me growing up in Colorado in the middle of the country is such a different, you would think, such a different world than somebody who grew up in the East Coast.
Hmm.
And we're similar in age. We're close in age. We're not the same age, but we're close in age, and but our lives are very interestingly parallel, except for some very big differences. Like Kitty's had all the different kinds of kids, whereas I have just had kids and stepkids. Kitty's had kids, stepkids, and
Adopted.
actual adopted, like full like paperwork, and then
And
they adopted you.
yeah, those have just kind of trickled in.
Yes, yes,
And it was
and
a total of 35 of them, 29 boys and 6 girls. Of those, I personally have 2 biological girls and 1 biological son. There was another son who passed away very young from SIDS.
oh,
And then
okay,
I adopted a young man and a young lady. So
nice, nice. And were they related, or you just they those were the two you adopted?
they were not related at all. The
Okay.
young man I adopted was actually a student in my son's second grade class.
Oh, okay.
And in happenstance, we found out that through tragic situations, he was actually living alone. And I went down and petitioned the courts. And of course, I didn't get him right away,
Right.
but eventually I got him. And the other situation, this young lady was a junior in high school and she was in foster care. And I had her for a Memorial Day weekend and realized she had been bruised all over her body. The foster people were causing her harm. And I took her from them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I experienced as a teacher, I experienced some kids with all kinds of different family situations, and
Hmm.
sometimes truly, truly heartbreaking. My very last year, there was one girl in particular who her mom just had some challenges. It wasn't in any way that she was abusive, emotionally or otherwise. She was a good mom as much as she could be, but there
Hmm.
tended to be some neglect problems. So about a month before she turned 18, she got removed from her mom's house. Well, they're not going to put you, it was better for her at that age, about to turn 18, to put her in the system and put her in this homeless shelter for teens. So she was having to ride the bus between 40 minutes and an hour, just depending on the traffic and the weather and all that stuff, to get from that shelter to school. And so I was working with her. So again, it wasn't the same kind of situation, but in a lot of
Hmm.
ways, I took her on, and then there was a counselor in the building that actually helped her get another place instead of being east of the school, she was north of the school, but the counselor literally was bringing her to and from school every day at the new place that she got her placed in. And that place she could stay in once she was 18. And so we coordinated and worked it out. And then the pandemic happened, and I worked with her because she was so bright. It was like, I'm sure you experienced this. You could see how all of these obstacles could have led to this girl having a pretty miserable adulthood.
Hmm.
But luckily, she had a few people in her life, and you were that person for these so many kids, that she was able to overcome and live a happy, graduate from high school and go on with her life. I think she actually got funding because of her circumstances, got some special funding to go to get an associate's degree, and she was able to be successful in life. And it made me so happy, but it also, like, that circumstance, it made me so sad because I know she wanted to be with her mom. Her mom wanted her. Her mom just didn't have the right tools, we'll call it, to be that parent. But I've had the other types, like what you're talking about, and being a what's the term, required reporter. It's something called something else. I'm just messing it up. But if I see something, I have to say something.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I only had to do a report twice in over 20 years of teaching. But
But I think that's what frustrated me as far as this young lady was concerned, because some of the markings were very obvious,
yeah.
and everybody just kind of turned a blind eye to it. One of the foster people she was with was a very close family member, and this was before the misdealings started. But she couldn't stay with her because the lady had reached a certain age. So then
Right.
they put her in another home, which was not very conducive for her at all. But I was very proud of her because she she fit right into family. I think that's one thing about all my kids, and it's amazing. What is so amazing about it? All 36 of us. Well, and I can include my biological grandkids now. So all 38 of us are ADHD.
Okay. Okay. And that probably manifests different in each of you, yeah?
I can't really say that. We usually peak and fall together.
Okay, got it.
So when one of us is having a spaz moment, all of us are, but we know how to manipulate. Sounds like such a harsh word, but it's the right word for us. We know how to manipulate the situation and each other so that we can pull everything in,
Got it.
you know?
Got it. Yeah, ADHD is always with my students. It would show up differently, but again, they didn't share households or anything like that. So I I believe in accommodating people for their specific needs, like whether it's on a piece of paper, a 504, an IEP, or not. Yeah, I did my best to get to know people as individuals, which I have tried to do with channels. Like, get to know that person as an individual and not just somebody who's on the screen. But
And see, all of us are creatives.
yeah,
So I think that's why we work so well together. You look at me and a little bit of my background: a carpenter, a hairdresser, um, not only my crocheting, but I write poetry. That's what I was trying
right,
to get out.
right,
I write poetry. I'm a spoken word artist. I am a published novelist.
nice,
So I had many different avenues in which I would go, and I was able to, being that I wrote so much, I was able to pull everybody into writing sessions.
nice.
And even if they didn't write, all of us have mountains of notebooks. They
Yeah,
will either be filled with writing passages or drawings. My grandkids gravitate more towards drawing. My son is an artist. Several of my sons are artists. One of my other daughters is an artist, but all of them can draw. I taught each and every one of them to crochet, working with my grandkids now.
nice.
One of them, only one of them, does it just about as much as I do. And that's the one I call my mama daughter. That's the one that's right here with me. But we're very close in not only our alphabets, I like to call them,
Yes.
but not only in our alphabets, we're very close in our horoscope. She too is Sagittarius.
Okay.
Her birthday was yesterday. And
Okay.
even though I don't get down with the horoscopes, I do believe
Right.
in the zodiacs, in that there are certain characteristics that come along with the time of year you're born.
Right. Right. There must be, because I too am a Sagittarius. I was late, or I would have been a Scorpio. but but again, I think there's I have more Sagittarius traits than
Mhm.
Scorpio traits, but you can tell I'm a little cuspy. Uh, but it's, yeah, I don't know much about horoscopes. I actually had a student do. I again I was that teacher, they had to do a writing project in math class,
Mhm.
but they got to pick any subject they wanted. They just had to talk about the math in it. And I had a student who actually did all the math related to the astrological signs and stuff. And she talked about the houses and the moons and all that stuff and where the math came from. And it's all really fascinating. But I'm so analytical that like I look at it that way more. The horoscopes are more for entertainment, in my opinion.
And they are.
Yeah.
They are. And I think that's why I say I don't really get into the horoscopes, mainly because horoscopes are predictions.
Right.
Anybody can make a prediction,
Right.
but you can't deny the fact that every person I know born from late June to the middle of July has that much of a snap factor.
Yeah.
They are the sweetest people you ever wanted to meet. They are all warm and cushiony on the inside. They cry at the drop of a dime,
Yep.
but when they get angry, you never see it coming.
Yeah.
It goes from pew pew in no time. And of course, I'm speaking of cancers, and I'm pretty sure any cancers out there can identify.
Yeah. Yeah. Lexie from Healex Stitchcraft talks about cancers too. And like everybody in her life is, for the most part, a cancer, which is
Yeah.
fascinating. Cancer, the sign, just to clarify, if anybody doesn't know, we're talking about astrological
Yes,
sign
yes,
Cancer.
astrological. We're talking
Yes.
about the crab.
Yep. And the crabs. But yeah, but we're Sagittarius, which we're the horse thing, right? Half horse thing.
We are the centaurs. We are the
Centaurs.
archers.
Yes.
And that might explain why we have that gravitational pull. Because
Yes.
we are archers.
So something that Kittee and I were talking about is like everywhere we go, we can be. We are clearly not employees at places, yet people come and talk to us. They might even talk to us about very personal information, and it happens to both of us like all the time. It's not like once in a while. No, all the time. If I go out, especially if I go to more than one place, it will happen at least once. If I
Yep.
only go to one place, it might not happen if I'm kind of in and out, but if I'm there for any length of time, it's guaranteed to happen. So, but yeah, it could be that archer.
It's weird. It's really weird when you go to restaurants
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
and you're sitting down eating your food. And they're like, "Excuse me, I know you're on break now, but no, I'm trying to enjoy my meal."
Do you have it with kids as well? I bet you clearly have it with kids, but like ever since I can remember, I'll be at stores or whatever, and if kids would come talk to me, or kids would approach me, or be at the park and they'd come talk to me, or if I was there with my kids or whatever. But like I've always been, we exude safe place. We exude approachable.
Yeah.
And so
And you look at me on my scooter, they will come crawl in my lap in a heartbeat.
Yep. Yep.
Mhm.
Exactly. So it's fascinating. Like I said, that on paper it would look like we have nothing in common, yet we have so many things in common. Go ahead and tell the story of how you came across me, because I think that's because I didn't know that before.
Okay, so what happened, or what had happened, as Auntie Seta said,
Yes.
um, I do this thing called Video Star of the Week. And I'm just in the process of revamping it. It's going into 2026.
Yeah.
And what I do is basically on the weekends, I scroll through channels and I stop and check people out that I have not seen before. And Lori, when I got to your channel, you were describing fibers. And you made fibers seem delicious. You did. And the energy that you put into it, and the fact that you couldn't stay on topic, I was like, she's like me.
Yeah.
And I felt at home, and you had people asking you questions, and you were responding to those questions, and you didn't make anybody feel left out. And I thought that was so important for so many other people to see. I know that was one of the things I was looking for when I first came into the YouTube community.
Yes.
And I wanted to make it known, hey, even though I don't have such a large following, if I only had a handful, at least I could let this handful know. And then they could branch out and let more know. And that's one of the things that I'm doing. You were among the first handful that I put out as a video star of the week. And by the way, before we go any further, congratulations on your
thank
fashion.
Thank you. Yeah, it was when I started, there was no thought that that would ever happen. So even at the beginning of the year, I told my husband, I don't think it'll happen, but here we are.
Yep.
So thank you. Thank you.
No problem. But that was, like I said, that's what gravitated me to you. And I started watching you more and more and more and more. And I was always shouting you out. So I was like, hey, let me put it in here, so that you would know that I was shouting you out.
Yes, yes, that was, and like I said, that's I had just figured out how to find when people mention me, and so then I went over and I watched, and not only did you talk about crochet and life and everything, but you also were talked about ASL, American Sign Language, which by the way, ASL is totally different than other sign languages.
Yes,
It's
it is.
just like English and Spanish will, or even South American Spanish versus Spain Spanish. Those are
Mhm.
different. ASL is truly its own distinct language, and I had had enough deaf students that I was like I had some background, but I think it's interesting to be able to do that. So I do like watching and learning. I don't always retain most of it, but I do I do watch it. I blame the migraines for that. We'll say it's their fault.
I do like the beauty of YouTube in that way because you always have the option to go back and look at it over and over again if you need to.
Yes.
One of the other things that I encourage people to do in teaching sign language is do it in the mirror.
Yes.
Do it in the mirror so you get accustomed to seeing it as well as signing it.
Yeah.
Do it with a friend. As you learn, teach someone, which is one of the main reasons I'm putting it out here because my story is I lost a large part of my hearing when I was 6 years old. I have been asked, well, how do you speak so clearly? How do you speak so well? Because I was already talking
Right.
when I lost my hearing. And every now and then you'll hear me clench my teeth together and talk through my teeth because I'm not quite sure I'm saying a word properly. And I've learned that that's a way to mask it for me, but it sounds, I guess, normal, people would say. I don't like using that word so much,
Right.
but it sounds like the regular words when you do that. I hear basically by voice inflection.
Ah, interesting.
And I also do a lot of lip reading.
Right.
When I'm talking to someone, I prefer videos.
So 2020
Um,
was rough.
2020 was very rough.
Yeah.
2020 was extremely hard for me. But at the same time, I don't know, sounds the same as,
That's true.
you see what I'm saying? So when you ask someone a question, and lots of times I found that I had to rephrase questions to get certain responses so that I would know what people were saying.
So you had to learn language almost more than a typical hearing person because you had to have alternate ways to say it.
And the time that I grew up, sign language was not really accepted.
Right.
So I didn't take the time that I should have back then to learn it. And I did not want to be left behind.
Right.
So I was that kid that would take the book home and rewrite it so that when the teacher would teach from it, the few words that I did understand her saying, I could flip through my notebook and follow along with what she was saying. And if it was something that I didn't understand, I had to go to her after class, or I had to go to my mom, who was also a teacher. And my mom never pressed me to learn sign language, even though when my grandfather found out that I'd sustained a head injury when I was sick. And when my grandfather found out that I had lost 70% of the hearing in my left ear, and at the time, 50% in my right ear, now this is kind of sticking around. It's at 73, but
Okay.
I'm at 75 over here.
Oh,
So, and the way people sound to me, if you ever go underwater and talk to someone,
okay.
that's the way everything sounds to me.
Okay.
But my grandfather forced me, without being harsh,
Great.
to learn the ASL alphabet. So if I didn't know anything else, I knew the alphabet.
Right.
And as I grew older and got my jobs, well, as a matter of fact, when I was 18, I dated a young man who was deaf. His name was Major, and he was patient. He was very informative. He taught me to not talk to a deaf person like this. That's the worst thing you can do. That is the absolute worst.
Right.
And that even though we're hard of hearing, like I love it when I can meet somebody and I say, and they understand.
Yeah.
That I know I don't have to spend my whole conversation in their face like that.
Right. Right.
because we have something that we can identify with, or that I can, understand.
That's so interesting because so my dad was born with no, on his right side, no eardrum, no nothing. And they think it's because his mom fell while she was pregnant and like his head was up against like her pelvis or something like that. And so it just didn't develop properly.
Mhm.
So I grew up used to facing somebody to speak to them. It helped me in my teaching. It probably helps with my YouTube as well because I don't speak to him like that. I mean, it's not helpful. It's not helpful, but I do have to make sure he's looking at me. Now, because he was in sheet metal, he lost a lot of the hearing in the other ear. Because they didn't wear ear protection back in the day.
Mhm.
He's obviously, oh, he's in his 80s. Oh, I'm sorry. He'll tell you he's in his 30s. But he uh, he ended up when he was 66, I think. He might have only been 65, but I think he was 66. He got a cochlear implant for the side that he had no hearing at all. Like
Mhm.
because again, there was no biological matter to hear. He couldn't. So that's why the cochlear on that side worked. He's not so great about wearing it all the time. But the very first time he came home after getting it, because it's a whole process, but like once he actually got the piece on there, he was like, "What is that sound?" And my
Mhm.
stepmom's like, "That's the birds." He had never heard the birds before.
Wow.
So because with only the single hearing and then also only had lost some of it, it's like he didn't recognize the sound. And it was, yeah. So again, it's cochlears are not for everyone. And you have to, it was a whole, he basically kind of won the lottery on that for with Medicare, in getting that because they don't approve people his age typically. But it was because he had lost so much of his other hearing that they approved him as part of it. But anyway, it's just fascinating because I don't think about how I've always done that, but it's because of my dad.
Mhm.
It's because of my
Mhm.
dad, and it helped me as a teacher. And like I said, it probably helps me with making sure I'm facing and speaking as clearly and making sure my mouth is seen on YouTube. That's where the hands, like when I'm doing a tutorial or something, I assume you do closed captions.
I do.
Yeah, I do closed captions most of the time.
You brought up another point that was very
Yes.
interesting when you said the cochlear device is not for everybody.
Hmm.
Neither are hearing aids.
Right.
Do I have hearing aids? Yes, I do.
Right.
But you remember when I gave that underwater reference?
Hmm. Hmm.
When I put my hearing aids on, I feel like I'm standing on a shoreline and the waves are constantly
Uh,
crashing in. And I hear that above anything else. What people call white noise
oh, yeah,
is
yeah,
what
yeah.
I'm hearing all the time. It's like the station has gone off and the TV is just playing static, but it's not static. It goes beyond static. It's
Yep.
not piercing. It's just that,
Yeah. Yep.
and it's so aggravating.
Yeah.
It is so aggravating. And then I got to the point that I was wearing my hearing aids as headphones because I would just listen to my music.
Right.
But I do. I'm hoping. I'm learning. It was amazing when I got my first set of hearing aids. It was back in 2008, and I was working at 7-Eleven. My boss took me to the place to get my hearing aids, and oh my God, she cried. The technician cried. I cried because when the lady put them in my ears, I was like, and turned them on. I was like, oh my God, I can hear, and it
Yeah.
was so amazing because I I really don't remember hearing distant noises
Mm.
or hearing people talking to me from other rooms.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
And that's like now sitting in my room. My TV is generally on 35 and above.
Yeah.
And when my daughter wants to look at TV, she'll come close my door
Right.
because it's too loud for the rest of the house. And sometimes she's here. When she's not here, I have to leave the door open because our doors are really loud. The outside doors
Gotcha.
are really loud, and I need to be able to hear them when they're manipulated.
Right.
Living in an apartment, sometimes the maintenance people come
Right.
in, and I don't know. So it's a weird way of hearing, but I have taught myself a lot about vibrations. Not only in feeling
Right.
things around you, but a disturbance in the air has a certain current to it.
Right.
And when that stream is broken, you know something has happened. If something is going on around you, somebody can say something to you from across the room. It's not that you heard them, it's that stream, that airwave was broken, and you immediately turn in that direction. You don't hear them,
Right.
but you've heard or felt something from that direction that's being off. So yeah, the other thing that you don't do when a person tells you that they're hard of hearing or that they're deaf, please don't test them. Please don't.
I'm
No,
sorry.
don't.
I don't mean to laugh. I just find I can't believe people do that. But anyway, go ahead.
Lori, they do it so much and they don't realize, it does get funny at a point, but
Right.
in the moment, it is so insensitive when
Yes.
someone goes behind you and says, "Hey, can you hear what I'm saying?" And you're going on with your day. And then, I was bullied a lot as a kid, so I
Yeah.
can tell you that. So then I'd get shoved like, "Hey, you hear me?" And I'm like, "No." And it happens when you're an adult. If you
Yeah.
tell somebody, "I'm sorry, I didn't hear you," or I do apologize, I didn't hear you. What's wrong with you? Are you deaf? Legally, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Another reason why I'm like I I take for granted that this stuff is, of course you don't do that, because I grew up with somebody who was half deaf, literally cannot hear a thing on that side. Well, now he can with the cochlears if he wears it. But because again, it's adapting and getting used to the hypersensitive, like, oh my gosh, I can hear everything. And to get some sleep, he would just, take it
Hmm.
off so he can,
Hmm.
get some peace and quiet. But yeah, that's people are interesting. But I appreciate you saying that, because I think people don't understand. Like,
But it's
first of
just
all, why
like
are they motivated to do that? I don't get it.
it's like anything else in
Yes.
life. Your idiosyncrasies are different than mine.
Right.
Your method of going through your morning routine is different than mine. It's the same thing, and it's the same thing with being legally deaf. Yes, I'm legally deaf. That does not mean that I cannot hear anything,
Right.
but it also does not mean that you can test me or, play with the fact that it's not a game, it's not a joke. This is my reality.
Right. Right.
And another beautiful thing about it is how being deaf and crocheting mesh.
Yeah.
Because with the ADHD, when I get in my mind, when I'm hearing the colors, when I'm hearing the stories, then I have learned to create tunes from the hums that I hear.
Ah.
And lots of times they speak to me and they create. I didn't know day before yesterday I was going to make a sweater for my grandson.
Hmm.
And I was just laying across the bed and I started, I started singing the color blue.
Nice. That's nice.
And I decided that I was going to make him a sweater from the bottom up. And that's what I'm doing. And it's fascinating to me to do that. Along with that, I find that with the ADHD part of us, we are creatives.
Right.
We're designers. We don't. It's not impossible to follow a pattern or someone else's path. It's just very difficult
Right. Right.
because we if we follow a pattern, it's one we've created.
Yeah.
If we follow a course, it's one that has either been manipulated or set for us, or it's something that is aligned with our thinking.
Right.
So yeah, I just find it fascinating. And I don't know if I'm jumping the gun, but the way I came to crochet was my ADHD.
Oh yeah, go for it.
I was 5 years old and my babysitter crocheted. She was a
Ah.
seamstress and she crocheted. And back in the 60s, there was no such thing as ADHD.
Right.
There was no such thing
No
as
learners.
hyperactive.
Right.
You were just a busybody.
Right.
You had ants in your
Pants
pants.
in your pants. Yep. Yep.
So that was her diagnosis of me. That's what they always said in school, that I was just too busy. I had to move around too much. I couldn't be still. I couldn't be quiet. And she decided to give me a hook and some yarn, Red Heart yarn. I don't even think it was called Super Saver yet. My colors were green. It was a very dark green and white.
Oh, nice.
And my mother taught at a high school whose colors were green and white, which ended up being my alma mater. But yeah, and the first thing I made was a poncho and a tam. So I didn't. But when I started, we started with the chain.
Mm-hmm.
And I did the chain so many times that I really felt like she was punishing me.
Oh, yeah.
But what she taught me was how to be consistent with my chains.
Right.
And I noticed that being on the YouTube streets that a lot of people, even being experienced, are not consistent with their chains. And it's something that you have to practice.
Right.
It's something you can't teach somebody how to do that.
Right.
I
It
appreciated
requires
her way
practice.
of teaching me because she she would tell me what to do and I did it. I'm one of those. Tell me what needs to be done. Show me one time and let me do it.
Hmm.
If I have any problems, I'm going to let you know and we'll work this thing out together. But don't just shove something at me and say, here, do it.
Right.
But I appreciated the way she taught me. We all found out that it was a way of keeping me calm. I found it very difficult at first to choose between the writing and the crocheting
Mm,
because they are equally important in my life.
right.
And as I get older, I find it a lot easier. No, I don't set days aside. If I set a day aside for something, it's going to be for crocheting. I've
Yeah.
learned that crocheting is like a lifeline to me because I don't have to write down stitches. I don't have to write down, there are projects that I have that where I don't have to count. It's just mindless
Right.
crocheting. And I guess you can see in how I present myself, I talk with my hands.
Me too.
so,
And I'm
they,
not even deaf.
so they are constantly moving, and
Yeah.
that helps to quiet that. And the humming too, as well. It'll help to quiet the humming.
Which is it's fascinating because I'm on the other end of the spectrum. Ever since I had the chronic migraines, I have hypersensitive hearing and I have a humming problem. It's like I've described it to my husband. Do you hear that in the walls? Do you hear that buzzing in the walls? No, of course he doesn't. So my students
Mine
did
isn't
not
in the
appreciate my
walls.
what's
Mine
that?
isn't in the walls. It's on the other side of the window.
Oh, okay. Yours is
I've
on the
gone outside so many times and looked because the back door is like right there.
yeah.
I'll go peep out the door and I'm like, there's nobody there.
Right.
Why am I hearing people are talking right here?
Right.
And no, I'm not crazy.
No, no. It's yeah. If you it's just fascinating the buzzing when you talk about the hum. Yep. I get it. It's a different. I'm sure if we experience it different, but it again. I'm on the other end of the spectrum where it drove my students crazy. I could hear everything. They would like their phone would vibrate in their pocket in the back of the classroom. I'm like, somebody's phone is vibrating. How the heck do you hear that? I don't know. I don't know. It's just been. You'd think supersonic hearing is a blessing. No, mostly it's annoying.
And like you said, it's so on the other end of the spectrum
Yep.
because mine tunes everything else out.
Right.
That's mine
Right.
is literally deafening everything else. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. It's just again we have all these things in common. It's fascinating. But sorry, I just keep
You're fine.
adjusting myself. Well, do you do have a sign off, and I will let you do it here momentarily. I know you
I
do.
do.
And then just a reminder, it's Kittee Lane. That's her but the channel is Create and Relate. Is it with a K? No,
Create with a K.
Create with a K. Create and Relate. Oh, and that's part of why I do the spelling. I'll spell things. I don't know if you've noticed that I do that. I'll spell out words like when I say
Mm-hmm.
hooks 247, I'll spell it out. But Kreateandrel.
No,
No, is it just N?
K-I-T. It's just the N.
Okay, so that's why I spell it out.
Create and relate with Kittee Lane.
Yeah, KreateNRelate at Kittee
Yes.
Lane, and you can see Kittee Lane
Mhm.
spelling there. Not kitty like a cat with a Y. It's kitty with an EE.
Like my deaf name is,
Oh yeah,
and
cute.
that's the cat
Yeah.
whisker with the lane.
Oh, okay. That's
Hmm.
cute. Yeah. See, I only know a few sign language. Well, yeah, because of my not my dad. He didn't know ASL at all, but my daughter has taught my grandkids. They do,
Hmm.
the more and what are they do? That's the one I see for my grandson all the time. So
I say this to my kids a lot.
yeah,
That's a lot. My grandson was like, Grandma, I was like, I know, I talk a lot.
yes, yes, we definitely can. We can do that, but we could probably talk all day, honestly. But just because if I'm looking at time and recording, I wanted to go ahead and let you do your sign off, and then I'll do my sign off, and then we'll say goodbye.
I will tell everybody, as always, to always remember to be bold, be brave, be beautiful, and behave. Remember, Kittee Lane told you. Remember, Kittee Lane loves you. So until we see each other again on these YouTube streets, Lori.
I always love it. I love it. And I always out loud say, when you say behave, I'm like, well, okay, I can't promise that. And then mine, of course, is thanks for coming in. Can I get an amen? And hugs to you all. Thank you, Kittee, for being with me.
Thank you for having me. And again, congratulations.
Oh, thank you so much. All right, y'all. Bye.